Welcome to the Behind the Bar podcast. Today we have Dawn Lawrence joining us. Dawn, if you'd like to introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Dawn Lawrence from Hospitality Jobs UK. Hospitality Jobs UK is one of the leading hospitality job boards that advertises jobs for the sector, but just for direct employees. I've worked in recruitment for over 35 years now. And I'm also involved in other industries and charities within hospitality. I'm an advisor to Only a Pavement Away. I'm an advisor to the Licensed Trade Charity. I'm also an advisor to the new Miston Abbey University that's just opened, which is the first hospitality university that's opened in 13 years. So I'm an advisor to the board there, and advisor to the board at the Buckingham University. Also partners with BII and etc. And
A lot of hats.
A lot of hats, but I love them all. Yeah, they're all good. They're all good.
How did you first get into the industry? Was it through recruitment or?
Yeah, it was through recruitment. I used to be head of recruitment for Dixon's Currys PC World, team of 53, local to me. And kind of long story short, got divorced. When I got divorced, I had a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old. And at that particular time, there wasn't hybrid working, there wasn't flexible working. And I wanted to be in a situation I could take my children to school. So I decided, I spoke to my group HR director then at the time and just said to him, I think I'm going to set up a recruitment agency. And he said, okay, how can I help? I said, make me redundant. And so I changed my job description and made myself redundant. And I went on garden leave for 26 weeks, which enabled me to set up my recruitment business. Loved working recruitment, initially in retail. And then I fell into hospitality round about 14 years ago. And I just love it. I just love every element of it. Initially, we were a recruitment agency. Then we provided temporary staff. And around about 2017, I, as a recruitment agency, was using a lot of online job boards and found it really expensive. And there was one particular one monopolising the market. And I thought, I could do this. Crazy. I could do this. Not even thinking about the technology behind it, not thinking about the investment you really had to do behind it. So I created a job board, recognised quite quickly that actually I couldn't do everything. I had too many balls in the air with my recruitment agency, my temp agency, my job board and 2 kids or 2 teenagers. During lockdown, obviously when COVID hit, we literally went from a recruitment agency from having sort of 150 jobs down to 0 jobs. And if I'm really honest, we were owed a lot of money by the industry. And I just knew I couldn't chase these guys and ask the guys for money because they just didn't have it. Yeah. So I made an option of deciding to close my agency down and just fully focus on Hospitality Jobs UK, which is one of the best things I've done because I absolutely love the fact that now I'm building partnerships, making a difference, creating really good groups of people and being really innovative and informative to the industry. So, yeah.
And you said that you love the hospitality industry. Me too. It's the best industry there is, personally.
Yep.
What is it about it that you love?
It's got to be apart from construction, it's got to be one of the only industries, and still you need an element of a skill there, that you just have got to have a great personality. You don't have to have a huge amount of qualifications to work in the industry. And it's so dynamic because you can come in working part-time, going to end up being a CEO or running your own coffee shop, bar, restaurant, pub, and just the opportunity is enormous compared to other industries. My background before hospitality is retail, and there's a lot of constraints in retail. You don't move as quickly up the ladder in retail as you do in hospitality. And what I love about hospitality is they share everything. Everybody's happy to talk about everything, which is really unusual in industries. But if you ask somebody, whether it's a managing director of a company, most people will share what challenges they have.
Yeah, I would say we are one of the industries that does discuss things a lot more than a lot of the other industries. Yeah. That's one thing that Workforce is really keen on. We're keen on involving everyone, hearing from everyone. Yeah. It's a platform that everyone can have their own voice. And I think it's really clear to get that message across that hospitality gives you that voice. Yeah. And like you said, you can be yourself. And there's a lot of positions, a lot of industries that you can't necessarily be yourself in. I mean, we were just talking to someone here that he's got pink hair and he's excited to dye it green next. Like, you can't do that. Some office jobs will be like, no, it has to be natural. Like, but being able to express yourself, I think, makes a huge difference.
And it's how your skills can be transferred from a pub to a bar, from a bar to a restaurant, to contract catering, to food service. Even I include under that hospitality umbrella the logistics, the suppliers, for example, the Brakes, the 3663s, the Reynolds, all those guys. So it's quite diverse, and it frustrates me when these people leave the industry and go elsewhere, because I'm thinking, why are they going? We pay really well, we pay competitively compared to, for example, the retail sector. And I know I keep on referring back to retail because that's the only other sector that has the hours that we do. Not sometimes as long, but certainly unsociable hours at weekends and evenings. But it's just an ideal opportunity. And your voice is in most companies, your voice is heard. And that's what I like as well. So, and it's like working with your mates. It's like, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, working behind a bar. It's whether even in a top, you know, Michelin star restaurant, it's working with people that are become your friends and family forever.
Yeah, so. You build your friendship group, your relationships, everything. Have you ever worked in a pub or a bar or anything?
Of course I have. Of course. Yeah, years ago, I loved it. At the time, it was quite funny because at the time, and my friends would know this, and they're still my friends today. One of my friends that I work with, I've known since she was 4, and we all work behind a bar, and they're all friends with me now, and we still catch up. But I was always known for being the bossy one, and I was always I know, and I was always known for the one that wouldn't clean. This is when you could smoke in pubs. I wouldn't clean the ashtrays out. Wouldn't do them.
It's the worst job.
Yeah, you know, and the others were happy to do that, and you know, we used to stay for afters, and you know, and to 2:00 in the morning, and we had a great time, and you know, we used to be dancing behind the bars, and it used to be, and it still is. You know, I loved it, and I'd still jump behind a bar now. I was in a restaurant the other day, and I was looking. Well, it was a bar, and with my husband, and I was looking over, and on the counter there was you know, those big blue towel things that absorb, you know, what you clean with. And they were on the bar, and I kept on looking over at them. And I thought, oh my God, I've got to move them, because it was just like, it was a beautiful bar, and it had all these. So when the guy came up to me and took my empty glass of wine away to get me another one, I went, oh, can you do me a favour? And he went, oh my God, I didn't realise it was there. So and I think a lot of people do that because I want everybody to achieve, you know, receive the best experience. So I've worked behind a pub.
I would do that when I go out with my family. I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to move these empty glasses. Like, Jess, you're not working. I'm like, but it's just force of habit, isn't it? Like, you're just like, oh, it's just 2 seconds. Like, let me move these out of the way. Or, Jess, you don't work here.
But it's lovely because, you know, when you go into a pub or bar or even, you know, anywhere, cafe, shop, we've got a Costa Coffee opposite us. And the minute I walk in the door, this is going to sound a bit unusual to some people, I always have a large cup of coffee, large cup of tea with 2 ice cubes in, because I don't like to drink my tea hot. But by the time I've got to that counter, they have it ready for me. And
love that. I love when people know, like, building that relationship, though. They know exactly what you want, who you are, they know about you, and you can have that face-to-face interaction.
It's amazing. And whenever we have a meeting there, but at the end of the meeting, we always take our cups and everything back, and anything round us, and they're always like, oh, thank you very much. But how cool is that? You know, I know it's only a little detail, and it's like, you know, how's your day today, Dawn? And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. How's your day? Yeah. And when you know, and then we're all on one, you know, first name terms, and so it's lovely.
But that little interaction with them could have made their day. They could have been having a rubbish day, and you saying, "How are you? How's your day going?" or even just taking your cup up could be what makes their day go from crap to amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to ask people, "How are you? And are you happy?"
Yeah,
and rather than, you know, where do you live? What car do you drive? I couldn't give a damn. You know, it's all about actually, how are you? How's your day been? And I always think you should always take in consideration you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah,
everything you do, because you don't know. And on the front, they might be, you know, they might look really happy, but they might have a few problems behind those eyes. So
especially, I think, in our industry, that you are constantly customer facing, so you always sort of have to put on that mask.
Yeah.
And you could be someone could be really struggling, but they're like, oh, how are you? What do you want for food? Blah, blah, blah. And then they're like,
I really feel for that, because I don't want to get into the great detail, but the beer taxes and all the taxes and the utility prices and everything. And I try and always drink local and eat local. Apart from I've got a fantastic pub that does the best food, so I'm really, really lucky. And we use our Indian, and we use our local convenience store.
Yeah.
There's a big I won't say the name of the shop, but there's a big one at the end off top of our high street. And I like her little convenience store because I go in there and I'll ask for something and he'll say, you haven't got it. The next day, it will be there, even if I didn't want it.
Yeah.
But I walk in and say, I got what you wanted the other day. And I'm like, amazing. So
it's, having that human interaction.
Yeah.
And being on a personal base with people, I think really makes a difference. So how do hospitality jobs support the pub industry? What do you do for the pub sector?
Well, we do quite a lot for the pub sector. I mean, we are partners and exclusive partners with BII. We've been your partners now for around about 4 years. So we give you advice on anything you come to us about, whether it's CV advice, interview advice, but specifically on the Hospitality Jobs UK, we're the only job board that has a section about running a pub. So one of the things I've been speaking to a couple of industry people, actually, our name drop, Louise at Punch, for example, talking to Louise Gallant about having a forum. We're trying to get a forum together to talk about the L&T sector. And the reason why is because there's about 9 or 10, well, actually we counted them, there's 13 different job titles for someone to run a pub. And it's how does if somebody wants to run a pub, how do they know which one to look for?
Yeah.
So we're going to try and create a forum, just sharing stuff and advising about legislation. So what we do for the pub sector, apart from drinking in the pub quite a lot, which we do.
Which it all helps.
It all helps. Is we on Hospitality Jobs UK we actually have a particular microsite talking about lease and tenancy and how to run a pub, but also anything if somebody wants any advice about when we work with the BIR. We also work with the Licensed Trade Charity, which is one of the biggest secrets in the industry, and which supports. And again, we advise people on anything to do. It has to be recruitment related. I get asked to do different panels, judge at different awards, which is lovely and exciting. And someone will say, can you talk to us about menus?
Yep.
I haven't got a bloody clue. And then I say, no, I'm sorry. You asked me about recruitment, onboarding and offboarding, which is onboarding when they start, offboarding is when people leave, and retention, I'm happy to talk about that.
What is your favourite thing about pubs?
What I love about pubs, I will happily go into a community-led sport. So when I go and see my brother, I go into the pub, it's full of builders, it's full of lads, it's full of guys having a great time watching sport. They are the politest people going. As soon as I walk in, everybody buys me a drink and gives me a seat. I don't know if that's because of my brother or because I've got a scary face or something. So I like the fact with a pub, you've got a community pub, you've got those destination pubs. We've got some great destination pubs which serve amazing food. But the main thing is, if I've got a problem with my mates, if they don't want to come around my house or I don't go around their house, we always go to a pub. It's even if it's for, I know you don't shoot me down, even if it's for coffee or breakfast, we say, let's go to the pub. You're
still going to the pub though?
Yeah, always go to the pub. So it's about the diverse, whether it's a load of girls meeting, whether it's a birthday celebration or just meeting for coffee, go to the pub.
I love the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, you could walk into a pub and everyone will give you that look if you're not local, but eventually, 2 seconds later, they're all talking to you. You could have a conversation about anything and everything. Politics and religion are not really discussed in pubs, which I think is quite funny. Some people like to discuss it and then it gets, I don't know what the word is, but shot down maybe.
But you do have really good in-depth conversations. If you talk to people where most of them celebrated, their celebrations, they do go to hotels, they do go to restaurants, but majority will say in a pub.
I always try and do a celebration at the pub if I can.
I am in the pub probably, and it sounds like I'm a bit of a, but I'm always in the pub at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
At the weekends, I work all week, really hard all week to go to the pub on a Friday night.
Yeah.
I have my Sunday roast at the pub. I go to the pub before I go to my Indian. I go to the pub before I have a Thai. So, and we're really lucky where we are in Hertfordshire. I'm based in Berkhamsted, and we're very fortunate. We've got some great pub brands around us, so we're really lucky.
Like you said, it's dynamic, isn't it? You could be going to the pub for a meeting, you could go for a pub for an interview, you could go to the pub to celebrate a birthday. No matter what you want to celebrate, it's the right atmosphere.
But you're absolutely right. Whatever the occasion is.
It's always the right location, I think.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is that people are aware of the careers that you can gain in the pub, or like the opportunities available in the pub industry?
Okay, I think in the pub industry it's more important than anywhere, because I'm not going to say what most people say it's a part-time job, but in a pub, what I love about the pub is that the opportunity, and that's what we don't share, the success stories. We don't share the fact that somebody started off in a graduate scheme and ended up to be an ops director. If you took it at leadership level, most of those people, I would say all those people have worked in a pub.
Yep.
So they've worked from the grassroots upwards. I think we need to showcase the opportunities. So when we talk about pubs, rather than talk about, it's an entry-level job, you can start as a barmaid and then you go, or barman, and you go from here to here to here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's turn it round. Actually, if you want to work in a pub, you could be an MD of a pub or an operations director of a pub or HR director. Yeah. Most of these pubs have big head office opportunities. So if you want to work in marketing, planning, buying, it's their procurement, accounts. And it's those journeys that we need to be educating I would say the next generation to come into pubs, because they would just think it's a pub, and they won't think about what's above that opportunity and what skills they have.
There's so much opportunity in the pub sector. I mean, technically, the BII work in the pub sector. I work in marketing and events, but I'm still to do with pubs.
Yeah.
People don't realise that it's not just pouring pints behind the bar or serving food, and I think that's where we're really keen to showcase. And we've got some great case studies from a few people. And just hearing from other people, I think our industry is a word-of-mouth industry.
Yeah.
You want to know what other people are doing. You want to hear our experiences and things. And I think we're really keen to get people to tell their stories. So whether they went straight in at an MD and they struggled, or they worked their way up from working in a bar all the way up to an MD. But the opportunities available are huge. And I think people really don't understand that.
No. They don't. I mean, we've just launched a new initiative at Hospitality Jobs UK called HUE, which is Hospitalities and Universities United. Mm-hmm. And it's a new initiative which is basically, I found some I dug a load of stats out where when people are choosing to take a hospitality qualification, so they've chosen to take a hospitality qualification, only 20% of them go into hospitality. So where are the other 73% going?
Yeah.
So I've spoken at Surrey University, Kingsway, East London, South, all the universities and Bristol universities, and I talked to them about hospitality, and all they talk about is hotels. Now, I know a lot of these students are international students.
Yeah.
However, when I start talking to them about the other opportunities, and I talk about pubs, contract catering, restaurants, I talk about the whole spectrum. And I always talk about the hierarchy, I don't know if that's the right thing, but the more leadership roles first, and then I work my way backwards. We're all really good at doing, you could be a barman and then you become an MD.
Yep.
I turn around and say, this MD used to be a barman, which is really different. So, but when I start talking to people and what was evident is that they didn't know enough about the sector, about the pub sector. So I decided to start this initiative with a lady called Lisa Wild, who actually runs Mr. Abbey Hotel, International Hotel and Hospitality School. And it's interesting, when they launched that school, it was originally just going to be called Mr. Abbey Hotel School, International Hotel School. But because of HUE, it's now called International Hotel and Hospitality School.
That's a big impact.
Huge. I mean, you try and tell these investors that, you've got to change that, the name of the school. But when they realise, and I talk of it with such a passion, the opportunities, and then I start talking about salaries that go with it. And this is where I think we need to be a little more transparent with the pub sector. Mm-hmm. You can earn some big money. I know.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a real opportunity to earn good money. And, 90% of the time you get fed.
Yep.
And it's really, you can turn up and
you get discount on your food, or you get drinks during the while you're working.
Exactly. So there's a real opportunity, and it's an opportunity where you don't have to go out and you can just rock up in a pair of jeans and top and your Converse. A bit too old for Converse, but maybe not. But there's a new opportunity. But there's an opportunity whether you're 16 or whether you're 70.
Yep.
The same person can do the same job, but the opportunity for a 16-year-old is that 16. And I'm talking about 16, I'm not serving, clearing plates and stuff. And when they turn to 18, they work behind that bar to become the next ops director of that pub.
Yeah.
So,
There's huge opportunities available.
So that's the thing that Hugh's doing. So Hugh is actually educating in career pathways to students coming into the sector. And I thought it was initially just going to be a link between HJUK and the universities. We've now created a website for Hugh, and on Hugh it's everything from career pathways. It's also got insights provided by Cam Insights. So they can educate themselves on stats, but also it's got a directory of the trading bodies, which include the BII, and also the charities in the industry, and also they get some rewards as well when they go there. So what was evident when I was speaking to the tutors at the university is that they didn't know enough about pubs. So we've actually got a section all about pubs, and very kindly Hall and Woodhouse have sponsored us to get a creative executive to do some video content.
That's cool.
And this Friday we're going into their amazing Taplow. I don't know if you've ever been there. They're amazing.
What, the Hall and Woodhouse?
Yeah,
It's so good.
It's so good, isn't it? When I went there and Jill was showing me around, I was like, oh my God, why have I not been here before? So we've got some video content, and the video content, interestingly, for Hugh, the first 3 video content is pubs.
That's what we'd like to hear.
I know you do. I just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah.
But we will be sharing our love with the hotels and the bars and everything, but we'll initially be starting off with pubs.
Yeah, that's the whole point with Workforce. We're initially starting in pubs because we feel like that's the most important sector at the moment, and it gives the most opportunities. And from that, you can go into hotels, like you said, contract catering and everything. Like, it branches out.
I love what Workforce are doing. I love what BI are doing with Workforce, because it's like a template that you can transfer into different sectors. But the fact that you haven't knee-jerked and turned it around within weeks, the fact that it's planned, I know it's hard work, but the fact that it's planned, it's like when I initially launched Hugh, it was it was February last year, and I thought within 6 months it would be kicked off. And then I realised that we needed to be more of a hub of information for these students, because when the students come to the website, we need them to say, actually, look at these careers. And if you look at the careers on Hugh, it's if they look for jobs, it goes to HJUK. So if you're looking for a job on Hugh, it goes to HJUK. But we covered that pub sector, so we're just doing a relaunch of HJUK actually. On the relaunch, it was like, do we need to drop apprenticeships? Do we need to drop, because we've got a dedicated page for apprenticeships, do we need to drop apprenticeship, and do we need to drop that run a pub page? And I said, absolutely
not, no.
Yeah, that ain't happening. So, so that's quite exciting. So it's all good stuff.
It's all going in the right direction.
Yeah.
We're really happy to be working with you on Workforce. I think it's going to be a good collaboration, and it will really work really well.
Yeah.
One thing you are providing for Workforce and the platform, which is available on the website to anyone that is a member, is a lot of information about applying for jobs, CVs, and personal statements and cover letters and things. You've done a whole, there's quite a few resources and documents on how to write the best cover letter, how to prep for an interview and things. And CVs is a huge discussion at the moment, I believe, especially in our industry. We've had a conversation with a few licensees about them, and there's that fine balance, I think, at the moment that a CV is important, so you can get to know the basics of someone, but at the end of the day, do you employ someone on their CV or do you employ someone on their personality? And we've spoken about this before, how important CVs still are in the industry, and what's your opinion on it?
Okay, so you always recruit somebody on their personality anyway. The CV is an intro. I'm going to split this into 3. First of all, the first element is that when people are interviewing, have they got the skills to interview? That's the first element, and that's what we're going to be finding Workforce as well, is how do you interview somebody? And then people go, well, I know interview. People don't know how to interview. And if they haven't done it before and they're running their own pub, how do they have that skill? So we're going to provide some documentation about, how do I interview somebody and what do I need to do? Because there is legislations around interview. Because and one thing a big note for everybody is that when you interview someone, you write notes. That candidate can legally see those notes. So you've got to be really
Didn't know that.
Yeah, really conscious about what you put. So if you put a smiley face or you put some sort of comment on there, be careful, because legally they're allowed to see that. So CVs, do I think they're right or wrong? So the CV gives everybody an opportunity to showcase what they're doing. I think we need to educate people on how they write CVs. So when you look at the younger generation, they would say, I don't want to do a CV, I just want to go apply. Now, if you look at Amazon and you look at Just Eat, they do it by an app, which is really, really cool, where you just say, yes, I've got a driving licence, yes, I can pick up food, and yes, I've got no points, and they have to prove that, and they get a job. I think removing the CV element, it takes with a pub. It isn't just about serving somebody.
Yeah.
It's got to be about the personality. And I think if people aren't lazy enough to do a CV, then I think they should be able to do a CV, but think about educating them.
Yep.
Now, a CV, the key thing I would say to the young generation about CV is they say, I've got no experience.
It's a huge thing. What do you put on your CV?
What do you put in your CV? So for me, the personality statement is really, really cool because that says a lot about you, but it's got to be talking about you. But think about the sector that you're going into. So you start off with, I love going to a pub, I meet my friends in the pub, and it's something that I do on a regular basis. And a little bit about your personality. Now you look at your skills. Most people that are going into pubs are around about 18 years old, so they're either at university or they've done college work. And think about the next thing you should be putting is your achievements. And your achievements are anything from running a London Marathon to doing babysitting to doing a charity event, from running, being a captain of a netball team, a captain of a football team. These are all key achievements. And Duke of Edinburgh, all those things that you've done where you think, oh, I've just done it. Actually, they're huge achievements because all those elements, you've got to be committed, you've got to have a structure, you've got to have a process, and then you've got to deliver it. So I would say if you've got no skills, just put your personality, your key achievements, obviously your qualifications. They're really important. And just put why you want to work in that pub. The only advice I would do at the bottom, when people talk about their hobbies and stuff.
Yep.
Interestingly, I think putting your hobbies is good. But I wouldn't put that you like watching football on a Saturday because it's a busy time in the pub. Not all pubs, but and I also wouldn't put that I'm a huge supporter of Chelsea or Arsenal because you don't know that the person that's looking at that. If you say you're a huge Chelsea supporter, if they're an Arsenal supporter, they may not see you just because you put. I'm a huge Chelsea supporter.
So it's making it personal, but not too personal, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just literally a great profile about yourself, some key achievements about yourself, any work experience or anything that you've done, voluntary work, and then also a little bit about your hobbies. But do I think, will it change? Will it evolve into just applying? What will happen is that there will be an app out there that will say you don't need a CV, but what it will do, it will gather information from you, which will build your CV.
Yeah.
So it will be, how many years experience you had, can you demonstrate a key achievement you've done, can you done this? And then all that does is go into some formal documentation. So it's like a CV.
It just builds it for you rather than writing it out.
Exactly. So instead of having a CV, so yes, the CV will always be there in some sort of format because it's good to find, it's good to find that knowledge. But also at a senior level, you need to have some sort of portfolio. You need to have some sort of CV to demonstrate your skills, what you've done, whether you've changed ROR, return on investment, or whether you've done, whether it's acquisitions and it's always good if you can on a CV to put some sort of percentages, timescales, revenue. This is what I delivered. This is how I delivered it. But it all depends on the role. But as entry level, there's nothing wrong with a CV.
So I'm currently applying for a degree.
Okay.
So I have to fill out a CV, personal statement, and everything. And it's like I'm going back to basics. And I'm like, my CV is 3 pages long because I've done so much work experience. But if I don't list all the work that I've done, it doesn't showcase my skills.
Yeah.
And it's that fine balance before, do I just list the jobs up to a certain amount of years? And then after that, do I just
How old are you, Jess?
30.
30. So for me, everybody's going, it's got to be no longer than 2 pages.
That's the thing that everyone said, 2 pages. But
who said that?
Well, that's what people have told me. But
I know, people tell you, if you've got a lot of experience to showcase, put it on 3 pages. Why stop at 2 pages? Because you could be missing something valuable. With CVs also, I know you did one for university, depending on the person that looks at the CV may not be the person who's actually you'll be working for.
Yep.
So potentially, trying to say this in a very diplomatic way, that you may have a resourcer that is just looking at CV and the recruitment manager said that they need to have these 5 skills or these 5 job titles. And if you haven't got that, then they would dismiss you. So if it goes on to 3 pages, put it on 3
Yeah,
pages.
as long as you've got the skills and stuff.
Yeah, and the white, be conscious of your white, sort of your paragraphs at the side. Utilise the whole page.
Yeah.
Don't put loads of lines on the page. Don't put boxes. And the reason for that is because depending on what you're opening your CV on, the format could sort of not be aligned. So just make it easy. And the other thing I would say is, you're writing a CV. Don't put your full address. Just put the county you're in. And the reason for that, I live in Hertfordshire. Between one end of Hertfordshire and the other end of Hertfordshire, it's an hour's drive.
Yep.
So I don't mind driving an hour in the mornings. I'm very fortunate. I drive 6 minutes and I'm at work. But I don't mind driving an hour in the morning. It's taken away those barriers where people think, oh, my God, she lives here. She's not going to want to travel this every day. 2 of my team, they do an hour every day into work and back. And they make those calls, or they use that time to wind down or listen to music or whatever. So just do that. So,
what's your opinion on photos on CVs?
I think it's a big no, because people make judgments on them, and they do, sadly. And I just think anything you can avoid putting on there, which would take a judgment call, going back to I'm a Chelsea, or West Ham supporter or whatever. No photos, no boxes.
I've seen it's something more with younger people that they think putting their. I don't know if it's because we're such a digital generation now that everything is out there anyway. Yeah,
I suppose so. But it just it's, if you get a CV and you see a picture, you will make. Unfortunately, people do make judgments on that. Yeah. So just avoid that. I just don't put it on.
So top tips are: don't include a photo. Not your full address. Lots of things that you've done, whether they're volunteering, whether it's guide, like you could have done guides, scouts, volunteered at your mum's cafe, things like that. But what benefit does it have listing them? Because I know some people are like, is this really something that someone wants to know? Like if I used to volunteer in my mum's work, helping her with a youth club. I was like, nobody wants to know that.
Yeah, they do, because it just shows that you're able to work, you're able to get out of bed and go to work. But organising working for the guides, you do a lot of things for community. It just shows that you've got some structure and you're able to do things. People will turn around and go, I've got nothing, I've done nothing, and I talk to them, and when I start getting them excited about it, I say, I did the Duke of Edinburgh. I said, okay, well, talk to me about that, and then we did this, and then we raised money, and from the Duke of Edinburgh, I had to create a website. Put it down, and when they go, I didn't think it was necessary, and it just means that the creativity you've done. It's really it's so tough. I talk to students as well, and I spoke when my daughters were at school. I spoke to their school about hospitality, and at the beginning we sort of asked them to raise their hands who would work in hospitality, and there's probably about 3 of them. Mm-hmm. By the end, they were all like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And it's, we are the best advocates of the people that work in hospitality and shouting about it. And, where's the best? I always start with, where's the best place? When you go out the weekend, where'd you go and what's the best place? We're talking about 18-year-olds here. And we go to the pub or the bar. And where'd you have the most fun? Pub and bar.
Yep.
Well, why would you not want to work there? Yeah. And get paid for it. Oh, yeah.
And get a discount.
Yeah. And get food. Oh, yeah. And some places, uniform. Yeah. So, yeah.
Can't beat a bit of free uniform as well.
Can't be, yeah.
I do like a pub t-shirt.
But a pub t-shirts are good because it just takes that thought process, because there's so many things out there when we talk about anxiety, mental health and well-being. It just takes that, what do I wear? What do I need to wear? Actually, we've got a t-shirt with our brand. It's good for branding as well. It eliminates that, I don't know what to wear.
Yeah, I look good in this, I look good in that. Yeah. We all know we've changed 4 times a day. I do it most days. I'm like, I don't like that. No, not that one, not that one. Give me a pub t-shirt. I'm like, this is easy. I'm advertising for someone.
Yeah, and it's easy, and it makes you part of and it sounds a bit cheesy, it makes you part of that family and community.
Yeah. So, you become part of the team, don't you? Everyone fits together. And it looks, I think there's an aspect that it looks nice for the customers. Everyone's in the same sort of t-shirts and things, and it makes it all fits together nicely.
Yeah.
So, what would you say? Top 3 tips for making a CV?
Top 3 tips. Oh, okay, we're talking about CVs. Okay, top 3 tips for making a CV to the younger generation.
Yep.
I would definitely, I can give you more than 3, but we'll start with 3. So we said no photo, no boxes. Talk about your key achievements. If it goes on 3 pages. So be it.
Yeah.
But what I would tell them and say is, don't tell a story. It's got to be about what you do. Is I was responsible for. I managed. I did this. I did that. And it's really hard. It's blowing your own trumpet. But these people don't know you. And obviously, put your postcode in. Put your county in, not your full address.
Yep.
If you've got a LinkedIn profile, create a LinkedIn profile. And that's where a lot of recruiters use it. And just think about your picture on your LinkedIn profile, and also think about your email address.
There's been so many
Yeah.
I think my first email address was like Fit Duckies or something because I was obsessed with rubber ducks.
Again, it's making that judgment call, isn't it? And so you just be conscious of your.
Nothing quite says professional like she likes rubber ducks.
Exactly. And also what a lot of people do is they put their name and they put their the year they were born. So I'm going to flip this round to the older generation. Don't do that. So I wouldn't put Dawn 1966. Don't tell anybody that. Dawn 1966. I would always put Dawn and something else.
Yeah.
Because again, flipping it from the other end, I'm 58 this year. People think, you're too old to do this, you're too old to do that.
Ageism is a big thing at the moment.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Where actually, why would they not want to employ somebody who's got a wealth of experience? So, and also, we can go down that route of women in the industry. There is more women in the industry than there was. I remember years ago when I was at the ALMR, I looked around and I'm thinking, oh my God, where are the women?
Yeah.
And I was larger than life with blonde hair, so everybody sort of said, hi, 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 hi. But now I love it when I go to an event, when I go to the BII summer event, for example. I love the ladies. They all come out in their brightly coloured dresses. But it's equal. And that's what I like, where going back 10 years ago, it wasn't
No.
so. We just need to get more women in the leadership teams. We just need to get
it has
women.
definitely seen a change. I've only been with the BI for 3 years, but actually I've seen a huge change in it already.
Yeah.
And it is getting that way, but it needs a good push, I think.
It does, and we need some more C-suite women. There's lots of people that run their own business. But just one thing I wanted to say about the salaries we pay, and we talk about COVID. People still talk about the positive thing that's come out of COVID. The negative thing is too many bloody pubs closed.
Yeah, far too many.
And the government just aren't supporting the pub sector. And I know BII and Steve are waving the flag furiously, and it just annoys me that, most of these people are in the pub at lunchtime anyway, or going to the pub.
Yeah.
But one of the things, what's good has come out of it is that where chefs used to work 60, 70-hour weeks, now they work 40, 45-hour week, and they get paid extra for working there. And also most people in the pubs work 40, maximum 45 hours a week, or they get paid extra if they want to. And the minimum wage, very rarely do people. There is some companies that just pay the minimum wage or minimum living wage because they're saying that you get tronc or you get tips and everything. But we just need to pay that just a little bit extra, because the younger generation, it's all about the money.
Yep.
A lot of it is about, because they're so inspiring. They want to own their houses. They want to move out of house. They're very independent, and so having that food on site, especially if you're at university, if you target those universities and saying, the first thing you get food on site, that means they are saving a fortune, because they know that they will get fed every single day. And give them a uniform, give them a T-shirt, it's even easier.
Yep.
So you've got a real huge population there that you could be targeting, because and all they want is food and a uniform, and they'll be happy. And a pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'd all be quite happy with that, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So one thing we are doing with our podcasts, which you will probably know from listening to all the other ones.
Yes, I do.
The person previous has written a question. I'm asking you. I don't know. I'm only aware of the question from today, so I haven't thought about the question myself. So the question that we have to ask you is, what should we all be doing as a society to keep pubs open? What's the one if you had to think one thing that we could all be doing to keep pubs open and to keep the pub business thriving? It's a tricky one to think of one thing, but
just make sure you go to a pub at least once a week.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Actually using the pubs.
Yeah, just if you meet somebody, have a coffee in the pub.
Yeah,
have a cup of tea in the pub. Just go there, because the minute we stop using it, and use your local community pubs, the local village pubs, the local destination pubs. Even if you go in there for one drink, it does make a difference. and a huge difference. And, just use pubs.
Perfect. So thank you very much for joining us. And we're
Pleasure.
really looking forward to working with you and HG UK and Hugh, is it Hugh?
Hugh, yeah.
Hugh for Workforce. And I
Yeah.
think we're lots of exciting content to come, I believe.
Brilliant. And it's going to be a really good hub of information for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm delighted to be working with you and the gang, at BII.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, no, thank you very much for joining us.
no worries.
Perfect.
Nice to see you.